from the well. So as the fluids were getting further and further away, the earthquakes were moving along and triggering. And in fact, there's two faults, two parallel faults, what we say in echelon faults in there. And I just want to point, so this is the paper that came out published in last summer, July 2013, by Dr. Kim from Columbia University. And one of the things in here, he says that although we do not know the extent of the faults in the Youngstown area, it is possible that continued injection of fluid at North Star 1 well could have triggered potentially large and damaging earthquakes. So I think we were, luckily that people sort of started yelling and screaming, and they had to respond to that. I think the 200 people that went down to downtown Youngstown in that November probably helped that and to shut that well down, because who knows what would happen. This interesting thing, this is an article. It actually, at this point, there were 8 earthquakes. This was October 30th in the Vindicator. And here's the whole list. We actually set an Ohio-sized record in 2011 because of all these induced earthquakes, both in Youngstown and down in Marietta. And but here's and there had never been an earthquake in sort of 250 years of European settlement in there. But here's a couple of quotes. There's one here. There's no data linking the well to earthquakes. These are both from that Vindicator article. And then the other one says, we have not seen any evidence that shows a correlation between localized seismic activity and deep injection well disposal. So there's no data linking the well to the earthquakes, and we have not seen any correlation. Can you tell the difference between the regulator and the company? They sound the same, right? The top one was the VP for DNL, and the other one was from Heidi Hetzel-Evans from ODNR. That's a problem when you can't tell the difference between the regulator and the company. And another troubling thing that happened in the report was, what happened was the first major earthquakes were on March 17th. On March 14th, the company had requested to increase the pressure. They hadn't increased it yet. They got the pressure permission on March 16th, 2 days later. We had the 2 earthquakes, and then March 19th. You would think if the regulator was showing some responsibility, they would have said, hold off. If the company was showing some responsibility, they would have held off. But no, March 19th, 2 days after the earthquake, they went right ahead and increased the pressure. And we had some of the highest pressure in the state in terms of these injection wells. A couple of weeks ago, it came out that the state, while we were suffering through all these earthquakes and having all these problems, the state was trying to get people excited about fracking in the state parks, and it turned out that they had this communication plan, which we have here if people want to look. It was broken in the Columbus Dispatch. What's interesting, Brian Kunkamula has something on EcoWatch. The Sierra Club put in a Freedom of Information Act request, and they sent it to him by mistake. And so then he went to the newspaper, and now it's been out on the hit list. This is just part of it over here. They have their messaging on here, and I'll just say here, the stakeholders, these are the allied groups, this governor's office, the EPA, the Department of Health, some of the regional chambers, the lobby groups. Our local newspaper was a potential a media ally, but I think from the editorial pages, and I don't think potential needs to be there, in my opinion. And also in terms of on the hit list, the opposition groups, Representatives Nikki Ann Antonio and R. Robert Haven, Bob Hagan, which he's now gotten, they both have gotten some national exposure. They were on the Ed Show last week, along with a bunch of environmental organizations that came out from that. So, and then they say, they had some, this is, again, there's a communication report. This initiative can be expected to blur public perception of ODNR's regulatory role in oil and gas. You think, right? They're promoting it, they're working with industry, and they're also supposed to be regulating this thing here. And again, well, we have the director saying that, again, there's never been a case of water contamination because of hydraulic fracturing. And so that's all I have to say, and I'm going to bring back Susie up here.
So at this time, we have a couple people that we really want to have speak. We have Tish Odell from the Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund, and she has been helping us with our Community Bill of Rights. Also, we have people who have traveled here from a long way away. We've got Lee, we have Randy, and we have Ray. And we'd like them to be able to speak. So we're going to try to keep it at 5 minutes for each of them, and then we'll open it up. And here's Tish Odell.
Thanks, Susie. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk really fast. I won't take up a lot of time. Pardon? Yeah, I do. There's other people who want to talk. The question is, wait a minute, I have something to say. Who gets to decide? This is the question. Who gets to decide if Youngstown has clean air? All the things Ray showed you. Your water, your meander reservoir. Who gets to decide? That's right. But right now, that's not how it's working, is it? They're telling you have no say, and you just brought up Los Angeles. It's interesting because if they just banned it, but if they have a state preemption law on the books, just like Ohio does, it's not going to go anywhere, okay? It'll get turned over in the court. So this is a huge problem we have. And what I want to say is these people in Youngstown, you're now on your third attempt passing this Community Bill of Rights. You are the bravest, most patriotic people I know, and I can honestly say that. You care so much about your community and the people of Youngstown, the future of Youngstown. And what's amazing is that all the hours you have spent on research, on attending meetings, writing letters, and going door to door, sometimes in sub-zero weather, to get signatures, to get this on the ballot, to allow the rest of you to have a voice in this, which the state has taken away from you. Many of these people are suffering because I get so upset when I hear them call you job killers and anti-jobs, because a lot of these people are also struggling day to day that are working on this to protect Youngstown. They are unemployed. They don't have hospitalization. They're taking care of sick relatives, and they're doing all of this for no pay. There's no financial gain in this for them. It's just that they care deeply about everyone in Youngstown and the future of Youngstown. They want jobs for Youngstown, but they don't want jobs that are going to make the kids sick, the people here sick. They want jobs that are long-term and sustainable, not just ones in a boom and bust that are going to be here, they're going to take what they want, and then they're going to be gone again. West Virginia is a really good example of this. I just read an article the other day, West Virginia, people are leaving that state faster than any other state in the Union. When you think about that, so the extractive industries have been very ingrained there, and it has not helped their economic, development, whatever, in that state. So if something happens in Youngstown, so when they're finished extracting, let's say there's an explosion in the Meander Reservoir, or another earthquake hits the community, who's literally going to be left to pick up the pieces? The people are, right? You think ODNR is going to be here picking up the pieces for you? You think the oil and gas companies? No. So I call these wonderful residents and people in Youngstown patriots because they're actually exercising their democratic rights. You may remember way back, some of us it's longer than others from history class, but we fought a war in 1776, the Revolution. And you know why we fought that war? Because we didn't like some king across the ocean telling us and dictating to us what could go on in our communities. And guess what? The Declaration of Independence was written after that war, and you know what the Declaration says? 3 important things in that Declaration. 1, we're all born with inalienable rights. Born with them. They're not given to us, they're not granted to us. 2, what that said is we create and erect governments to protect those rights. And the third thing it said is that if government's not protecting our rights, we have the right to alter, reform, or abolish it and set up a government that is. So that's exactly, okay, so your patriotic neighbors here in Youngstown, they've taken this cherished document that we all cherish in this country, and they've taken it to heart, and they've taken it into action. Okay, so this is the essence of the Community Bill of Rights. So when you see this, don't let anyone try to tell you that this is not about the people protecting themselves, okay? I just get so, these people here are amazing to me. They do this over and over again. And the Community Bill of Rights of Youngstown is about the people making your own law and protecting your inalienable rights. You can't have life without clean water, without clean air. If the farm fields become polluted, you can't grow food that you're going to eat. So it's not about killing jobs. It's about protecting the people. So thank you, everybody in Youngstown.
Now, I see Lynn in the back holding a camera, so she's up here with me, but if everybody could do a little drum roll with your feet. Today, we found out that we will be on the ballot, that we have enough valid signatures, so yes. So yes, vote yes. 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 So, okay, Randy? Okay, great.
Hi, I'm Randy Moyer. This is one of your frack jackets that you wear on the well pads. I wear this all the time because I'm still a worker, but it can't work. I got it contaminated in exposure about 28 months ago. I'll give you a little bit of what this stuff does to you. Just this month of February, I've been in the ER 3 times. My face was so swelled up, my mother couldn't even recognize me. The nurses were coming in taking pictures of me. They put IVs in me, hang bags of whatever, I call it glue, because I have no idea what they're putting in me. Run IVs through me. This last time's the first time they ever come in. 2 nurses come in with a needle in each hand, went through the legs. So as I progress, I get worse. The weather has a lot to do with it. I'm hypersensitive to any well, gas, perfume, anything that has an odor to it will set me off. I carry these pictures around with me. This is a 28-month. This will show you what this stuff will do to the body. You'll get, every morning I give my tissue a little blood in the mornings there when I wake up. You get dizziness, headaches. This messes with your eyes, your ears. Your heart palpitates. I get the swelling. Genitals swell up. Looks like somebody shot me in the rear end with a shotgun because my rear end's always swelling. It rips the skin, rips the inside of my mouth, the cheeks. I was in with the radiation and all the chemicals, so I got the radium 226, 228, 229 part. Nobody knows how to fix me. I've seen now over probably 100 doctors. And they can't tell me what it is, how to fix it. They'll give you different things, what it is, allergies, allergic to shrimp, allergic to food, this, that, whatever. But nobody to this day has ever told me what this does. I was a driver for Curry Supply. I was there for 4 months. My job was to do a little bit of environmental. I'd climb in and out of the tanks. I did the mats. As you see in these pictures, these workers here, you won't see any of them with any kind of mask on. The silica sand that flies above these people's head that's working on the pad will all end up with silicosis. I got this stuff in my lung also. I have trouble breathing. The lady that with the mask down there, I go through them. I got inhalers. Every day's different for me. Nerves, it gets into your nerves. It drives you crazy. Some days I could see stuff real good. Some days it's a blur. I'm working with a 28-year-old driver now. He just contacted me about a month and a half ago. I have a web page up called Gas Vets, so it's tried to help everybody else out who's been impacted as workers or around the pads. He got a hold of me and says he was delivering fuel to the pads. Well, he was walking in the puddles. Well, he got the exposure the same way I got it, through my feet. Now, he lives in Morgantown, West Virginia. He's going through the same stuff I'm going through now. But with the information I gathered about myself over the last 2 years, it helped him get help quicker with the toxicologist and that stuff. The reason they can't find this stuff, it goes in and out of the body in 3 days. It goes in, does the damage, comes back out, hard to trace. I'm basically their guinea pig. I've been for, like I said, 28 months. My hands will swell up like sausages. They will all touch. You'll see some days they'll turn white, other days they're red. I'll get welts. My arms will swell out like this, chest. Swallows my throat shut. The last 2 years I've been in the emergency room 20 times. The reason I go into the emergency room is because I have no medical. They take that off of you. They don't want you to get yourself fixed, find out what's in you, find out what they did to you. These times that I go in are life-threatening. It's either the face swelled up, the throat. I have to go. The rashes and the burning, I've been 18 months straight burning, bad burning. I heard of stories of different people that shot themselves, hung themselves. The pain is extreme. You just can't describe how much pain there is in this. It bothers your joints. Like they say, with the bones and that, well, it snaps your teeth off. My teeth all snapped off. Eating garlic bread. I had nice white teeth. Just one day, you know, I got this in me. It wasn't a couple months later, eating garlic bread, snapped 2 of them off the front, and they keep snapping. Since I ain't got no medical, I can't go get the rest of them pulled out. So I've been fighting for comp for 28 months now. They just changed the Act 13 in Pennsylvania, where the doctors weren't allowed to go in and testify for you. I've been one of the first ones through the Southwest Environmental Health Study that the doctors and that all say I got this. The company doctors say I got exposure. I went down to West Virginia, I got exposure. So they all know this. I couldn't get any help with any kind of income. Now that this is lifted, in 30 days from now, I'll get to go to a comp hearing, and hopefully I'll be able to receive comp after 28 months. No water from here. I bring my own. Well, they have some good doctors down at WVU.
Thank you, Randy.
Ray Kimball, Dimock, Pennsylvania. All right. Affected landowner and gas worker of 3 years. The reason there's a moratorium in California right now is because Craig Stevens, Shay Davis out of Colorado, and myself were flown out to California, and we had a meeting with Governor Brown's 8 top advisors in his executive office 4 weeks ago. That's one of the reasons the moratorium is now effective in California. From California, we turned around and went to Annapolis, Maryland. We did a PowerPoint presentation in Annapolis at the governor's. And from there, I hooked up with John Fenton, Steve Lipsky, Craig Stevens, Josh Fox, and we all hit D.C. We had another presentation down there. We were granted a second meeting with the EPA, but of course, McCarthy ran from us because she ain't got the guts to stand up to us. Steve Lipsky, Texas. This is from the Railroad Commission, which is a bunch of liars, and the reports from EPA stating that his water is contaminated from gas drilling. John Fenton, Pavilion, Wyoming, another good friend of mine. Again, his farm is contaminated by drilling. PowerPoint presentation that was leaked to the EPA. This agent was personally at my house. I know who this is. I'm not going to determine and tell you who it is. But he released this because the water is contaminated. Endemic, Pavilion, and Parker County, Texas. They know it. The investigations were dropped because the re-election of Obama was being affected, and they were ordered to get out of those 3 major investigations. And this is why we're back in D.C. fighting to get the EPA back in and reopen these investigations and do their jobs. This is a pretest from Cabot Gas and Oil on my water well prior to drilling. Shows there was no methane, absolutely nothing in my water whatsoever. It was fine. After they started drilling and fracking, DEP came in after all the neighbors started making complaints. This is a report from DEP showing 27 different chemicals now in my water well. I love the back of this because they were talking about radiation here earlier. Well, here's a report right from our DEP, if I can get my fingers to work. Love the back of it because it starts uranium-238, uranium-235, uranium-236, uranium-234, 3 grades of thorium, manganese, barium, you name it, arsenic. It is now in my water well, which it wasn't there before. When the first round when the EPA came in to drop this investigation, the EPA went national. Said there was nothing wrong with the water in Dimock, Pennsylvania. Big hoopla. They had a big press conference about it. Then why did you write this report on the 22nd of July, the day after, telling me my water's contaminated? This is right from Region 3, EPA, our federal government. Next good one I really love is out a way to get rid of uranium and all the radiation from the power plants. Let's inject it into the old gas wells. It's a way to get rid of the uranium now. So that's another thing that everybody really needs to start worrying about. And then they turned and said there's no evidence of ground contamination due to fracking. This is a consent order from the state of Pennsylvania, DEP, done with the CEO and head legal counsel of Cabot Gas and Oil. This was not done once, not twice, done 3 times. This was signed by them, stating they contaminated the water in Dimock. And this is a legal order. I still do not have water to drink at my house. We still truck it in. I could stand here for 4 hours and just like Randy. I got rashes coming up my legs. I got psychosis of the lungs. I have migraine headaches constantly. Earlier they were talking about blowouts of wells. They came in and fracked 2 other wells that weren't fracked. And when they did, it turned around and blew out the Costello 1 well. So we had a blowout right in front of my house. Costello 1 well is 500 feet from my front door. I've had a rig on that site going on over 1 year now, trying to repair it. They've spent over $14 million on this site right now, and they still cannot fix it. They were ordered by DEP to plug that well 7 months ago, and they said, hell no, we got too much money in this. We're not doing it. And they're still working it. There is a 9-mile moratorium in Dimock. No drilling, no fracking. Hence, they are drilling 500 feet in front of my house right now. As of the other day, it got released. They just turn around and find them again, DEP did, on the Lewis 2 pad, which is 800 feet on the other side of me, for groundwater contamination because all the brine tanks rotted out and was leaking into the ground. Over there, those are all the pictures right there from front of my house. I mean, you got flaring. I mean, you just imagine having 4 747s, okay, and about 8 F-16s throttled up to take off, running in front of your house, okay, for 3 to 4 weeks straight, 24 hours around the clock. Pam just saw the pictures I showed her over her house. The lights right now from that rig across the street are so bright, I can stand inside of my house with not one light bulb on in my house that's about this bright inside my house all night long. And that's not counting the noise. So they just turn around and find them for the groundwater contamination on the Lewis 2 pad. So we did a little more checking. Now, heck, we're only 2 months into the new year. Dimmick and Susquehanna County and Springville, over 290 violations written up by DEP this year alone in Dimmick and Springville. These wells are all around my house. Over 270 this year. You can't even imagine how many violations have been written up last year. That's not counting the cross-contaminations we do with the trucks, the illegal dumping we do with the trucks. You know, all the impoundments by us, okay, are lined in the ground. They all leak. So, I mean, my time's running out, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff going wrong with this. So the only thing I try to tell you is try to keep it out of here the best you can.
I'm Lee McCaslin. I was born into this oil field in 1979. And what I've just been handing around is the first Bill of Rights from the Native Americans. It dates back to 1700s, okay? And that piece has been handed down and moving forward, just like we're moving forward in this movement. And it's in a good way, and it's got to be respected and treated that way. And since 79, you know, and I crossed over to this side and trying to make things right. Sometimes in life, like right now, we got some bigger events coming to Ohio for you. We got a water walk, and it'll start off in Pittsburgh on April 22nd, and we have some people that's going to walk and pray along the Ohio River for the water. They're going to do a water ceremony because this all should be all in this